Greetings, adventurers, and welcome back to Abnormal Voyages. My name is David, and today we find ourselves in Vicksburg, Mississippi, here at the Vicksburg National Military Park. This is the site of one of the biggest conflicts in the Civil War, and there's numerous monuments out here that kind of commemorate everything that happened. So we're going to get in there and check it out. Tag along.
We're going to a place that you've never heard of before. It's Abnormal Voyages. You're gonna learn something new. We're gonna open new doors. It's Abnormal Voyages.
Before heading out to the battlefield, we decided to stop at the visitor center, where they had a little museum set up that showed you different pieces and aspects of life during the Civil War and the time period that the Battle of Vicksburg actually happened. It was really interesting getting to have a little peek into the lives of the people that were around during this time period. There was swords, uniforms, artillery, just different things that really brought to life the past and the history that had occurred on this spot. And even though the battle took place over 150 years ago, there was actually a lot of things here that I think the modern person could relate to. It was very understandable, the things that they needed to keep going during this siege. There was the tents, the chairs, all actually pretty similar to things that I think we would use today. And then common items like playing cards and little items of comfort that helped keep the soldiers going during this long battle. Little things like this really offer us a window into the past so that we can relate and understand what happened. But after our brief glimpse, it was time to actually get out to the battlefield and see what they had in store for us here at Vicksburg.
Throughout the battlefield, there are several monuments, some of them huge, such as this one behind me, representing the state of Minnesota. And these actually are for every single state that sent troops to fight in the siege. Let's see if we can find them all.
Now, while the states definitely had the most impressive monuments, they weren't the only ones out here. There were several that indicated either where certain battalions were, you would see where the troop was from and which direction they had taken. That was from Indiana. This one here signified a deployment from Ohio. And then scattered about, you would also find big busts of the officers, brigadiers, just different people who commanded the men that actually took part in the battle that happened here at Vicksburg. And then the ones that looked almost as great as the states were these full-size ones that were done of the actual commanders during this key battle. And make no mistake, this certainly was a key battle of the Civil War. Abraham Lincoln and Jefferson Davis both agreed that Vicksburg was the key. Whoever had Vicksburg basically had control of the entire Mississippi River. That's partially the reason why so many states were involved with defending it. This was the monument from Michigan here. Very impressive. Troops were sent from all over to take place in this siege that lasted for 47 long days until finally the Confederacy gave in. And giving in didn't happen until after one hell of a fight. There was roughly 110,000 soldiers that were all involved with the siege here. And of that number, about 38,000 of these troops all lost their lives. With numbers like that, it completely makes sense that the states would feel led to leave such intricate and beautiful memorials here to honor those who were all truly fighting for something that they believed in. No matter what side you were on, it's hard to argue that it wasn't filled with passion and true belief that they were doing the right thing. I honestly really enjoyed the fact that every monument was very different. You could really see kind of the personality of the state and what was important to them when they made these. just at looking at all the little details and the things that they chose to represent, I think it says a lot about not only the states, but the people who lived there and call it home. Even today, it's definitely a great way to see a quick personality flash of these different places.
And of course, we had to stop to see the Lone Star State, Texas.
This is a perfect example of what I was talking about. Even though it's out here in Mississippi, the architecture and the art style they chose to go with is very, very Texas. And it's actually kind of reminiscent of what they have going on at the Alamo, if you've ever visited there. Alabama took a little more muted approach to it, but still manages to have some amazing detail here in the people that are displayed and the writings.
Another very impressive state monument, the monument to Illinois. And we can actually go inside this one. Let's check it out.
This was probably my favorite one out here, and was by far the most intricate and well done one. It almost reminded me of a small Capitol building of sorts. They had everything you could want here, with the gold eagle on top. They had the etchings in marble on the side, different sayings. It was absolutely incredible.
Now inside this beautiful monument, the walls all around us are covered with the names of the men and officers who are from Illinois and fought here at Vicksburg.
Starting at the top and coming down the majestic dome, first you see the names of the different commanders, first officers, brigadiers, etc., that all helped lead the men here from Illinois. And then, underneath that, you had the specific infantries themselves and the actual names of every single soldier that was involved. They made sure that nobody was left out and that each and every one of them was honored. Then right here in the middle, you had the Great Seal of the state of Illinois. But this wasn't the only interesting place to see here.
We're going to follow these stairs up to see the Shirley House, which is the last remaining house that was actually here during the siege. And here we are at the Shirley House. It was badly damaged during the siege, but they've restored it to exactly how it looked during the war. Pretty fascinating stuff.
Sometimes it's easy to forget the regular people that were caught up in this war. This city of Vicksburg was lived in by regular citizens, so of course when this giant siege happened here, it upended their lives, mostly in a bad way. And of course, one side of the battlefield has all been given over to tombstones. Here lay the majority of the almost 40,000 soldiers that were killed here in this battle.
The Battle of Vicksburg was fought not only on land, but in the rivers as well. Up and down the rivers, we had the ironclads here, these fearsome ships. We're going to see if we can get a closer look. One of the coolest things is you actually get to climb aboard the ship to take a little tour. This is the USS Cairo, and we're going to explore her.
Now, this is what's left and what has been salvaged of the Cairo. It was definitely a fearsome ship in its day, big Ironside ship chugging down the river, ready to blast apart anything and everything that tried to get in her way. Looking inside, you can tell that there was lots and lots of firepower to go around. This was not a ship to be messed with. It's actually incredible that these huge iron giants were even able to float, but they were massive instruments of war. Some of the fiercest battles of the Civil War actually happened on the waterways, be it the rivers or in the gulfs there, as they fought back and forth over who would own the ports and who would be able to successfully have trade in and out, which was an extremely, extremely important thing to have.
As you can see, the Civil War, and more specifically, the Battle of Vicksburg, were certainly key to our history. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tagging along. My name is David. This has been Abnormal Voyages. We'll see you in the next one.